Mindustry. This is Laura Feticus. I am using my PvP warped brain to do another campaign map. Today it's going to be Caldera. And seemingly the entire point of this map is to make it hard by making you poor. What we got here? We got 3 wall beryllium and 4 graphite. And that's what they start you with. And there isn't any more on this whole island. You do get started out with a little oxide and some low efficiency elude factory. So first stop is taking that bit of hydrogen and making sure that every single one of those wall tiles is getting double covered by boards if it can. So as much as possible. And there's going to be a lot of manual mining to also make up for being poor. Once those are taken care of, then you got to get as much power as you can off this island. There is no wet green here. Oh no, there's a tiny little bit of wet green. But if we're not going to build a whole lot of extra stuff on this island, you don't have to bother using it. And it's not even shaped right to cover a pump well. You need multiple pumps, and none of them would get more than 60 when 80 is the maximum. And then there's this is the tungsten you get on this island, and it was like 8 tiles of it under there. So everything's poor. Oh, there were 2 more graphite down there. 2. Not even on an edge, so it could be 1 board. So the first elude finally comes out. You need it to find some more vents. And then we need to go stake out the place we're actually going to defend. So there's multiple of these openings between different big lava, hot red, wet sections. And they've all got lava in, so you can't wall it off. The forces that are going to be sent against you is a single elude factory. So you're poor, and you're not being attacked hardly, but the way that you should be stopping eludes is walling off choke points. And this thing puts non-buildable space in all the choke points. So the only thing that we can do is stack units in those choke points. And the only option is eludes because that's the only thing that can go over the hot red. And this is the one I'm going to pick. So I can block it off a little bit more, and I can stuff eludes in there. And then the last bit of making sure I stay safe from attack is I'm going to put a sacrificial turbine up in that direction near where the stakeout is, so that when an elude does try to weave its way through the roadblock, it's going somewhere close to do its attacking. Alright, so we're done with this island. Now, the thing that we need to get more of first is tungsten. And the easiest way to take care of that is going to be to spam a bunch of turbines up here. Not worry about combustion power, because there's enough turbines that you can weave your way through these 2 islands that you can power a lot of stuff. And we're gonna manually carry it with the player ship back until setting up a cargo drone. 1 cargo drone. Luckily, this map starts you with 50 surge, which is enough to build 1 cargo drone drop off, which is all you really need. So that's gonna get enough tungsten back for construction, and then when that's finished, then we're going to set up 3 avert factories, and we're going to get a fleet of those as fast as we can. And then we're just going to go in and snipe the 1 core and be done with it. But there is the matter of you are absolutely stuck waiting for a trickle of tungsten coming out of that half efficiency patch on the starting island. There is no getting around waiting for that because you're going to need at minimum an electrolyzer and a wall bore to get any tungsten anywhere else on the map. At least there's stuff to set up in the meantime while you're waiting for that. Once you get up to like 10-ish eludes in the blockade that they can kill something before it gets all the way through, you don't have to worry about doing any chasing or checking on it after that point. All right, electrolyzer, good. And how close do we get to building the wall bore? Oh, so close. Come on. 5 more? 5 more was enough. All right. So the cargo dropper doesn't require tungsten to build it. And I got to put an unloader down on the main base. But the part that would require more tungsten that would go otherwise is you got to get a nitrogen maker, and you got to get a tank. You carry the tank up and put it next to the cargo thing so that it actually builds its drone. It doesn't consume nitrogen, it only needs it to build the drone. I guess if your drone is going to die, which you're already wrong, if your drone dies, then you'll need more nitrogen. But if you're not doing the dumb thing, then you only need a little bit of nitrogen for it to build the drone. I'm gonna want, there's plenty of graphite here. These sand stacks are okay. They're not great. But I'll be able to get enough for 2 arcs, and there's enough power to run that. And then that will feed 3 avert factories well. And we also got extra hydrogen up here that'll boost these bores. There's no need to spend tungsten getting graphite out. Blockade, not quite strong enough yet. I didn't put the power on it. Dumb. No, given the amount of tungsten that I'm gonna need up here just for running 3 avert factories, I'm not gonna need to put nitro into these bores. And also there's, plenty of extra space. The power consumption from doing nitro would potentially force you to actually need to build the combustion generators here. But I'm gonna get away with skipping that part. So not only are we starting out poor and needing to develop slowly, but we're just ignoring major infrastructure upgrades because the minimum that we need to actually do the attacking when it happens, derp, 2 errors. Everything's purple, so refabricators look really a lot like the same as fabricators. So, that's gonna waste some graphite. No, not a whole lot. It's beryllium and silicon that goes into building those. I have to take them down and rebuild them. Luckily, just the one oxide chamber chugging along this whole time is going to be enough to actually, seeing as avert refabricators are the only T2 that requires oxide. for reasons. As far as PvP balance goes, it's probably good that it's that way. Alright, we're ready to actually send the titanium, and we're gonna... So the drop-offs for cargo drones are real cheap, and they don't even need power. So it's easy to put one cargo upload with its drone, and then multiple drop-offs, and it will... I don't know how optimal it is, the decisions it makes on where to send what, but it doesn't make obviously stupid decisions. So I'm going to use the cargo unloader as input into the T2 factories. I'm going to actually, replace them and build them properly. And when all this finishes up, we're going to be sort of very close to the running out of beryllium, just the perfect amount of production and mining and whatever for exactly the infrastructure I need to get this whole poverty thing out of the way. It would have been great if I noticed the problem before I built those, but it's going to take not getting in, the jammed up eludes that you can't put it into another elude factory is going to be when I notice there's a problem. Oh, no. Not quite enough beryllium. Slowing things down. Some of the other islands that I haven't bothered to explore. There's floor beryllium, which is expensive and low efficiency to get more of, and there's some others that have wall beryllium but no graphite. So this island gets picked for having a wealth of sand and graphite, and enough power can be hooked up to it to run the 3 factories without needing to bother with the combustion generator stuff, which would eat up more tungsten and more oxide. So that's the entrance to the actual enemy base, and this scouting, in preparation for actually doing a few attack runs, I'm gonna set up a hospital. And so the point of that is take the averts, go in and snipe out a piece of defense, then fly them back to unit healer towers, put them all back up to full health, and then go kill something else. Mistake fixing. There we go. Along with needing to move these eludes out of the way. But now I've got enough of the eludes that nothing is actually going to survive running this gauntlet. Ineffective attack. I'm not bothering to fill any ozone tanks, since everything that I need to take out is within the core build radius of the enemy core. There are buildable floors in that choke point there, but that is within the core build radius of the enemy base, so you can't actually wall it off. And probably would be even much more too easy if that were something you could do. I'm sure it was intentionally set that way by the map designer, that you can't wall these things off. And it also seems to be pretty intentional that you can't set up ducts to cross some of these boundaries. So bridges can only cross 3 tiles in a straight line, and there are no paths of 3 tiles in a straight line in sequence that can actually cross over a lot of the lava separating these islands. Although some of them you can get power nodes across. It really does expect you to use just cargo drones to do everything. In the south, there is a alternative approach into the enemy base over narrow walls. So you would make crab units to attack that. But it's the opposite side of the enemy base from the core. So it's a longer, slower attack to do that. And those units are intrinsically worse and slower. There's a large 9 combustion generator in the enemy base on the south side that is outside the core build radius. So for fun, that's something that could easily be ozone bombed. But you shut off their power, and what happens? They don't send the one elude. Oh well. There's another curious difference in this map, that it comes with 5 unit cap bonus. Normally you get 15 per core, and this one has an extra 5. So the unit cap is 10, or 20. I suspect that when this was initially made, players complained about it being too hard, and the fix for that was, let's give them 5 extra units to store up, and then maybe their attacks will go better. I have not put any energy into probing sort of the minimum number of averts that you need to make forward progress on these attacks. So I think I'm going to start going for it around 15 instead of waiting for the full 20. Yeah, and now it's just waiting. More waiting. Do all that work to sit around and wait. All right, so you can just barely not see the core. It's right there. So the order of taking these things out is going to be hit the mender first, and then we're going to take out some breaches, and then we're going to hit the core and do back and forths to heal up each time. And with the hospital being able to set up that close, then it'll go pretty quickly when we start fighting. Yeah, all right, well, let's start fighting. The building regen projector is extremely flimsy, and it's badly defended because it's missing walls on all sides. That was basically nothing to get rid of it. And for some reason, it doesn't rebuild quickly. There might be some actual challenge to this map if the NPC rebuilding were effective, but it seems like it only puts it back up 5 or 10% and then gives up. So take out a breach, go heal. We're doing G-click and then making sure that I'm pulling just the averts. We're done in the hospital. We'll go get that other breach. Making sure that we're, just as long as you don't hit one of those sort of front wall pieces, then you're good. And with the short range on averts. All right, that's the next. I might get that third breach also. What am I doing? Yeah, all right. Get that last breach too. Carve right into it. This hospital trip is probably completely unnecessary because there's nothing left to shoot back. I guess there might be one stray elude. They do come and try to defend if they're alive when you happen to attack. That one is not alive. Yeah, and then melt the core. Doop, 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 doop. It's over. That was it. The way to make up for being poor is to just do it quickly so you don't exist in that state for long. And you can see there's so much enemy base that you don't have to go anywhere near to get that. Like all of this stuff, if you're using crab units, you'd have to go through all this. Have destroyed. There's that power plant that you can ozone bomb for lols if you want. This is the island to the south with strictly worse resource availability, although it's got some ground beryllium. So if you think you want beryllium that way, that's where you get it. And you have to cargo drone it over from there if you want it. And then there's this weird island.